Hello friends, this is Scott, and here we're looking at my mother sweet potato plant that I've had in the kitchen. And I was just kind of thinking, what would happen if I just plant this whole thing? I did have one plant that I did pick off that already had rooted, so I went ahead and planted it in this bed. And I'm just going to stick this in the ground and just see kind of what happens. I'm trying to film one-handed and plant, and I'm not really good at it. But we're just going to shove it in the ground with all those roots, and we're going to see if we get any sweet potatoes out of this plant. But anyway, yeah, it'll either work or it won't work. So it's just an experiment. But today I'm looking at the progress in my raised retaining wall beds that I built. I built two of them, or actually three. One was the fairy garden, but I have not planted anything in there. That's my wife's deal. But this bed appears to be doing really well. So we have the pole green beans that are climbing up the trellis. So they're looking really healthy and filled in well. They have a long ways to grow, but they're progressing nicely. Next to this, we have the red cabbage, which hasn't started forming heads yet, but they look very, very healthy and very little bug damage, it looks like. Then next to that, we have the cauliflower, and cauliflower didn't do well this year. It just formed little heads, and I think the days to maturity are important, and I think I planted these a little late, left them in the containers, and they didn't do a whole lot. Now my broccoli, I did have some broccoli, and I'll have some side shoots, but most of it is main heads are going to seed, but they'll still produce a few, again, side heads that are side shoots, I should say, that I can use in stir fries or whatever. Now looking at the green cabbage, they're doing really well. They're heading up, and they look like they're going to be really substantial. A little bit of bug damage, but not too much. And I'm pretty excited because usually my green cabbage doesn't head up quite so quickly. Next to that's Brussels sprouts, and they haven't done anything yet other than just the plant is growing. So we'll see if we get any of those. And then we have two types of kale on the end, and one of them's went to seed, so that's not good. But the other one is looking good, and I might make some kale chips out of that. So overall, this bed, I'd say, was a success. Now we transition over to the other bed where I planted the strawberries and the onions, and I think I got more sunflowers, weeds, and I got a big pumpkin in the back. But this bed didn't do really well. The onions, I'm not sure how big they are. I'm going to go through this whole bed and just pick them. I'm not going to film a lot of that, but most of them have, they're beyond ready. Now, here's a look at what the standard, generally the biggest size was. So a little disappointed this year. I have lots of onion, but they're all this size or smaller. And here's the harvest. Again, I planted white, red, and yellow, and I did it from the bulbs. And I don't think I'm going to plant bulbs anymore. I think I'm going to try to grow from seed because I think those will grow better bulbs, bigger bulbs. So this will be probably my last experiment with bulbs other than maybe at the school garden. But I did manage to grow a whole bunch of earthworms in this bed. I'll show you here in a minute they're all at the surface. There must be plenty of organic matter and moisture, but I'm just picking out a few to show you. But there are lots of worms in this bed. Everywhere I was, they were within the top inch of soil. So that's a good thing. This bed will improve over time. So here we take a look after I weeded and picked the onions. And I've got tomatillos that are volunteering. I've got sunflowers. And I've got this big old squash pumpkin or something. I'm not sure exactly what it is. This is a volunteer, and it's 4 times the size of anything I purposely planted. So, volunteers are generally the strongest plants you have. So we'll be interesting to see what kind of squash we get out of that. But there's a tomatillo, and it is flowering. Again, I did not plant this one. This was must have just been in the compost. And this is the one I actually planted, and I've not had any actual tomatillos this year, so not sure how long the seed is viable in compost, but at least it's a couple of years because I didn't have much going on last year with tomatillos. But, you can win them. You don't win them all, but we have some successes. We have some semi-failures, but we have some overall wins. And I'm excited about the amount of food that we can grow in a small suburban yard. Well, thanks for watching, and I appreciate your support.